You know it's recording. This is how she speaks to me. This is going in the video. This is going to be the intro of the video. This is how she speaks to me. See, throughout all these videos, I talk about how nice she is, how she like shaves my ass and helps me for bodybuilding. Right, this is what I get in the meantime, is her talking shit. She just goes, F you. Did you hear that? Yeah. The internet heard it, babe. I'm going to throw something at you. The internet heard it. Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Okay. Oh, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. In today's video, I thought that I would take you guys through a little bit of a push workout as well. In today's video, we are going to be going ahead and going over my blood work that I went ahead and got at 3 days out from the second show. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that and compare my levels and kind of values of where they are at compared to the beginning of my prep when I got my first round of blood work done. So we're going to go ahead and dive into all of that in this video. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy my egg white omelet because I'm still having this for breakfast, even though it's been like 4 weeks since I did my show. Oh geez, coming up on like 5 weeks. We're like 5 weeks post show. We're still keeping it clean. We're still keeping it as tight as possible because I don't want to rebound and gain a shit ton of fat like I did in 2022 after my show. So I actually quite enjoy this breakfast. I will probably do a full day of eating post show for you guys here soon. Some things have changed. Obviously food has come up a little bit. Cardio has come down a little bit. So we'll probably dive into that in a full video. But I'm gonna go ahead, eat this, and then I will probably catch you guys for the pre-workout before we go train. Perfect timing, guys. So it just so happens that I am filming today and a package just showed up. I've been waiting on this package for probably about a week or so, and I was like tracking it, and all it said on the tracking was like ready to ship. So I was like, where the hell is this? Do I need to contact them? But we got a little unboxing today, which is excited. And what I'm getting really excited about, many of you will probably laugh at, but if you are a bodybuilder, then you will understand why I'm getting excited about this. So this is cream of rice from Elev8. I've been really wanting to try their cream of rice. They have some really cool flavors, and they just came out with a new flavor, which is why I actually went ahead and made this purchase. So we got one bag of the Georgia peach here. That one I think will be good with like just like a vanilla protein powder would probably be pretty good. We got the cookie butter, which is like Biscoff, I'm hoping. I'm assuming that's probably what they went for. They just couldn't legally say Biscoff. So that's gonna be really, really exciting. Got a chocolate cake, which is just kind of standard chocolate. I've had the chocolate from like Flavor Gang and Pride Foods and stuff before, but you can never go wrong with the chocolate. And then I got 2 bags of their newest flavor. Peanut butter cup. Okay. Okay, peanut butter cup, settle down. That looks absolutely delicious. I'm so excited to try peanut butter cup. Might have this one post-workout today, so really happy that this showed up when it did because then I can go ahead and try one of these post-workout today. So very, very excited for that. Like I said, I got 2 bags of the peanut butter cup cream of rice. So what I'll actually do is I'll actually go ahead and leave a link to their website in the description below this video. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, then you can definitely go ahead and do that. Really good. Also a Canadian company, which I do love supporting Canadian companies. So that is really good as well. So I'm very excited to try these, and I probably will be reviewing them probably on my Instagram as well as on the YouTube as we go ahead and try them out. But you can get like a really good bundle deal right now. That's what I did. You can do like a 5-bag bundle deal, and it actually works out to be a really good price because on top of that you get free shipping, plus you can also use an athlete's code to get an additional 10% off the bundle deal. So like I said, I will leave that in the description below so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But I'm gonna go ahead and put this away, and then we're gonna go ahead and get the pre-workout sorted, and then we're gonna go train. All right guys, we're just getting the pre-workout sorted. So intra-workout is back in as well because I do have a little bit more calories now to go ahead and play with. And I definitely find that intra-workout is a big benefit for me. I do find that with the length of my sessions, it just gives me that extra little bit of fuel. I'm only having about 20 grams of carbs intra-workout right now, but I do find that it does make a difference. But for today, we are going with a non-stim pre-workout because trying to bring my caffeine intake down a little bit compared to where it was at during prep. During prep, there was probably some days, most days it was probably like 500 at a minimum, and some days probably creeping up to like 6, maybe 700 on a really bad day, which is not great. We definitely don't want that. It's not going to be good for recovery, CNS, fatigue, sleep, all of that sort of stuff. It's not going to be beneficial. So definitely trying to bring my caffeine intake down a little bit. So I had a coffee this morning, but that was like 6 hours ago before cardio. And then I am just finishing sipping on an energy drink here, which is about 180 milligrams. So that'll be all the caffeine I'll have for pre-workout today. So we're just going with a pump product today. We're going with the Pre-HD Elite. This is definitely one of my favorite pump products. Really great ingredient profile and really great flavor as well. This is the pink lemonade. Absolutely love it. It's nothing like too sweet. It's just kind of nice and subtle. So we're going to go with about probably 3/4 of a scoop of that, which is going to give us a nice little pump. Nice little pumpy pump. I'm a f***ing idiot. I just say dumb shit. And then, you know what's funny? Is that you guys don't even hear half of the dumb shit that I say, because I cut it out, because otherwise these videos would be like 45 minutes long. Next thing we'll go ahead and do is throw in creatine. I'm going to go ahead and do 7 grams of creatine. Creatine is one of those things that people think is just kind of like a blanket statement of 5 grams per day. And that's definitely a good spot to put it, but there actually has been some research that you should be having about 1 gram per every 10 kilograms of body weight. So if you're a larger individual, you're going to benefit from having a little bit more creatine. So right now I go with 7 grams of creatine. And then last thing I'll put in my pre-workout here is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of potassium as well, just for a little bit of electrolytes.
Some in my mouth.
What? What the fuck did you just say?
Remember the cheese, the old bird with the little girl?
Oh.
Some in my mouth.
It's not that popular of a video that I remember that one.
Why? That one you should. I have that meme stuck in my head that you associate with me, that I have no time for pleasantries.
Show me your weirdo. Okay, and then intra-workout is going to be 15 grams of EAAs, as well as, like I said, 20 grams of carbs. Really love this carb powder. This is Demo Day from Axe and Sledge. It's great. It's just got a nice, easily absorbed carb blend, and then it's also got a little bit of glycerol in there as well. This one is a combination of a highly branched cyclic dextrin as well as a carb 10. So that's a fancy word for just saying it's going to digest very, very easily throughout the workout. So we're going to go with 20 grams worth of carbs from that, and that in combination with the EAAs is going to be my intro workout. Alright guys, just rolled up to the gym, just getting the pre-workout in. I like to go ahead and sip mine as I roll up to the gym. Now something to take into consideration, whether it's a caffeinated pre-workout, whether it's just a pump-based pre-workout, is that these things are going to take a little bit of time to peak. So for most of these ingredients to hit their max effectiveness, it's going to be about 20 to 30 minutes. So just take that into consideration, depending on how far of a drive you have to the gym, depending on when you think you're going to be getting into your first working set. I warm up for probably about 20 to 25 minutes between walking on the treadmill for 10 minutes and then just going ahead and doing my dynamic warm up. So I go ahead and I sip this as I first get here, because I want to make sure that those ingredients are peaking as I'm getting into my first exercise. If you're not going to do too long of a warm up and you're just going to drive to the gym and kind of get straight into it, then you could probably go ahead and sip this on your way to the gym, which I have done in the past, but I find that the timing of this is a little bit better if I go ahead and just kind of chill here in the parking lot for a minute, listen to some music, get my head good, and then go ahead and head in there and smash it. So getting the rest of the pre-workout in. So we got a push workout on the docket for today, so we're going to go head in there and crush it. I'm probably just going to leave you guys with a little bit of an edit. I'm not going to talk too much. I really just want to get straight into it, because I've really been enjoying getting back into training lately, especially post-show. You kind of have that period where you're a little bit burnt out and you don't really feel like being in the gym, but I've kind of gotten over that hump and I'm really enjoying my workouts lately. So I'm going to leave you guys with a little bit of an edit, and we're going to go in there and smash it.
I'm not going down. I'll be
Alright guys, workout complete. Pretty good push workout. Push is definitely one of those ones that I tend to lose a lot of strength on during a prep. So those numbers have been slowly coming back. Definitely not as quick, I've noticed, as the numbers on my pull workouts and my leg workouts. Those have come back a little bit quicker. But over time, hopefully those push numbers will continue to go back up, because those definitely are my weaker areas that I do want to continue improving. But nevertheless, I'm absolutely starving, and I am super excited to go ahead and try out that new Elev8 cream of rice. I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and try out the peanut butter cup one today, so I will give you guys a little taste test review on that once I have that whipped up. Alright guys, we got a live, I guess it's not live for you guys because this is a pre-recorded video, but we got a taste test here of the new Elev8 cream of rice, the peanut butter cup flavor. I'm super excited to go ahead and try this. Well, that's good. Straight away, there's definitely like a good balance between the chocolate and the peanut butter flavor. Sometimes with like chocolate peanut butter, you can get a little bit too much chocolate and not enough peanut butter. This has almost got a little bit more peanut butter than it does chocolate, which I absolutely love because I love peanut butter. That's really good. That's like definitely up there with some of the best cream of rice that I have had. So I'm gonna go ahead, dive into this, and enjoy the rest of my little red collapsible bowl here of cream of rice. Alright guys, I thought that I would just go ahead and take a minute to go ahead and sit down and actually run you through my blood work results at 3 days out from the second competition. So when I went ahead and got my first round of blood work done, this would have been 3 weeks into my prep, which would have put me 19 weeks out from the other set of blood work that I did. So as you can see, I got the first set of blood work done on February 18th. And then I got the second set of blood work done on June 26th. So obviously, before we go ahead and dive into this blood work, take into consideration that I am by no means a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just me sharing my experience with you and sharing the process with you of what a natural bodybuilding prep can do to you. And that's something to take into consideration as well, is that this was a fully natural bodybuilding prep. I am on no PEDs. There was no PEDs involved in this prep or in this weight loss phase. So that's something to take into consideration as well, is that this is just how natural bodybuilding and getting down to single-digit body fat percentages can still affect your health. So I'm not going to cover everything in depth, but we're just going to go ahead and kind of take a look at a little bit of a snapshot of things at the beginning of my prep compared to the blood work at the end of my prep. So first off, taking a look at my auto WBC, which is my white blood cell count. As we can see, when I got my blood work first done at the beginning of prep, it was right around 4.7, so still not super high, but we can see that it actually went ahead and dipped down below that reference range near the end of this prep, going down to 3.5. So this was one of the numbers that is actually highlighted because it is so low that it is outside of that reference range. So that just means that obviously with a lower white blood cell count, that we are going to be at a greater risk for infection, which is something that is very, very common. Obviously in the end stages of a prep, you're pretty depleted. You have been beating your body into the ground for X amount of weeks. So you are most likely going to be in a greater risk of getting ill or getting sick or getting some sort of infection. So that wasn't anything shocking. My red blood cell count only came down ever so slightly, so nothing to be too concerned about there. My hemoglobin came down just a tiny bit as well. My hematocrit came down about 0.4. My MCV was the exact same. My MCHC only came up about 4. My RDW only came up a tiny bit as well. My platelets came down from about 205 to 170. And then as you can see, all of the absolute numbers there really did not change too much. As we can see here, my ALP levels came down about 20 points. So this is putting me just above the lowest end of that reference range there. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. This kind of just lets us know that we were in a state of malnutrition, which obviously we were. We were in a severe calorie deficit for an extended period of time, but this is better than it being at the high end of things where it is kind of past that top end of the reference range, because then that can start to lead to things such as liver disease and different things like this. So this is not necessarily in a bad spot, and we are most likely going to see this recover over the next couple of months. As we can see here, my ALT level went from about a 45 up to a 57. So this is definitely something that we do want to keep an eye on. We do want to make sure that this is staying under 60, because this is going to be a direct indicator of liver health. But obviously we are having to go through and process a lot of different things while we are going going through a prep and our body is just going through a lot at the time. So it's definitely a value that I will keep an eye on over time as the off season progresses. But for right now, it's not above that reference range, so it's nothing that is immediately concerning. But the fact that that did creep up there a little bit is something that we are going to want to go ahead and watch. My creatinine went from 104 up to 127, which does actually put me outside of the top end of that reference range. Something to take into consideration with creatinine obviously is going to be, we do train very hard. I train 5 days a week. I train to failure pretty much all of the time. That is going to be a lot of muscle waste that is going to be generated, and this is why it is also going to have an effect on our EGFR. As we can see there, my EGFR came down from an 87 down to a 68, which definitely isn't a great spot for that to be, because this is obviously a indicator of kidney health. But I think something to take into consideration with an EGFR is that it's not always going to be the most accurate representation of your kidney values, especially for bodybuilders, because it doesn't take into consideration your age, your race, the amount of muscle mass that you have. All of these sorts of different things are not taken into consideration when it comes to that EGFR number. So obviously we don't want this to continue moving downwards, so it is something that I will be keeping an eye on, but just keep in mind that it's not always going to be the be all end all when it comes to your kidney health. So my estrogen, this was something that was very interesting, is that my estrogen was already relatively low when I did get the first round of blood work done. I was only sitting at a 44. And while we don't want estrogen to be super high in men, we also don't want it to be super low as well. So 44 definitely was a little bit on the lower side. And then when I got this second round of blood work done a couple days out from the show, it was actually less than 30. It doesn't even say what it was. It could be 20, it could have been 10. Either way, it was less than 30. So that's definitely something that we do want to have come back up a little bit, because like I said, while we don't want too much estrogen as men, we do still need some form of estrogen and some level of estrogen to go ahead and make sure that we are functioning properly. As far as ferritin levels go, we did go from an 88 up to 200. We are still within the reference range. It's a very large reference range, but this does just mean that our body was a little bit more inflamed than it was when we got the first round of blood work done, which obviously I was doing way more cardio near the end of prep. I had been pushing my body to its absolute max, so it is most likely that we are going to see a lot more inflammation in the body, so that's nothing too crazy there. As far as my FSH levels, those came down from a 5.7 down to a 4.4. Now, this is obviously something that we don't want too high. We do still want it to be under 7, but it's something that we also don't want to be too low, because this means that the pituitary gland might not be producing hormones properly. So it's something that we do want to probably try to bring up a little bit. But again, it's nothing that is going to be too concerning, because this was obviously like 4 days out from a show. So this is like the worst my blood work is going to look, basically. And it's just going to come up from there. As far as my glucose goes, I was at a 5.1 when I got the first round of blood work done, and for this one I came down to a 4.6. So obviously I'm still in a good spot for insulin sensitivity, so that is good. My hemoglobin A1C came up from a 5.1 up to a 5.4, so nothing too concerning there. We are still within the range, so that is good. My lipase came down slightly from a 35 to a 27, so nothing too concerning there. My triglycerides came up a little bit from a 0.68 to a 0.77, still within the reference range, so nothing too concerning there. Obviously, it's something that we might want to go ahead and keep an eye on over time, but it's nothing that is immediately concerning, especially considering whereabouts my body was at. Now, my total cholesterol did come up from a 3.49 up to a 4.83, so that is a good little jump in total cholesterol there. So again, this is something that I do want to keep an eye on, and something that I will be monitoring as I continue to get blood work done throughout the year. We're still within that reference range, so it's nothing again that is like immediately concerning, but it is something that we definitely don't want to see that continue to be on the rise. So our HDL did come up a little bit, which is going to be the quote-unquote good cholesterol, so that is one that we do want to have a bit higher. So that actually went up from a 1.19 up to a 1.6, which is good. But on the same hand, we did see our LDL go up from a 1.97 up to a 2.9. So that is one that we would like to see move downwards, as opposed to that one seeing that move upwards as well. So just kind of something to take into consideration as I move into my off season with my diet, is something to make sure that LDL does not continue to creep upwards. So my luteinizing hormone was already relatively low at a 3.3, and it did come down to a 0.8. So this is something something that, again, I will take into consideration, and I will keep an eye on it and see how that does recover over the next couple of months when I go ahead and get another round of blood work done, because we don't want to have that continuing to move down and down and down. Now, getting into the good stuff that you guys are here to see. So when I did go ahead and get my total testosterone checked 3 weeks into prep, I was sitting at an 18.5, so kind of right in the middle of the range. That the range is going to be 8 to 35 nanomoles per liter. So moving into the second round of blood work, when I was 3 days out from the show, my testosterone had dropped over the course of this prep from 18.5 all the way down to 2.4, which basically means that at that point I am hypogonadal and my testicles were producing very, very little testosterone at that moment in time. So obviously testosterone is something that is going to be very, very important to us as males. It is something that is going to be very important for sex drive. It's going to be important for sleep. It's going to be important for energy levels. It's going to be important for building muscle mass. So this is something that I am going to be keeping an eye on, and it is something that is going to be a point of interest for me, because I already felt that even at 18.5, I definitely felt that things weren't as optimal as they could be. So now having this at a 2.4, it'll be interesting to see how this recovers. And this is why, in my last video, I talked about potentially making that jump of going from, natural to enhanced and going on, something such as testosterone replacement therapy to go ahead and see if I could get it even a little bit closer to that 35 range and still be within the natural range, but just be at that high end of natural range to see how I go ahead and feel on that. So this is definitely something that is going to be an interesting value to go ahead and track over time and see how this value does increase and see how this value does recover post prep. But I was absolutely blown away by this, going from 18.5 all the way down to 2.4. I did not think that it would be that low. Basically near the end of this prep, I had like the testosterone of like an 8-year-old girl, basically. So that was a really crazy value to see for me. But yeah, that is basically where my blood work is at compared to when I got my blood work done at 3 weeks into prep and 19 weeks out, and then compared to when I got my blood work done at 3 days out from the second show. So basically after 19 weeks of dieting and 19 weeks of being in a prep, getting down, losing almost 40 pounds, getting down to single digit body fat percentages, it does still wreak havoc on your body. Whether you do it natural, whether you do it enhanced, getting down to this level of body fat percentages, being in a calorie deficit for that long, or going through such an intense exercise regime of doing steps, doing cardio, doing all of the training, it does put a toll on your body. So I definitely think that it is something that is good, whether you are natural, whether you are enhanced, to go ahead and get your blood work done. If you are natural, you can, go ahead and get it done maybe once or twice a year. And if you're enhanced, it is something that you do want to make sure that you are going to get done regularly. So I did go ahead and get this blood work done, like I said, on June 26th. I'm going to go ahead and give it about 3 months to see how my body does recover from this prep, and then I will go ahead and run another round of blood work to go ahead and see how some of these numbers have recovered, and if there's anything that I need to go ahead and implement to make sure that I can recover these numbers. The biggest one, obviously, that I am going to be focused on is going to be making sure that I get my hormones into a better spot, such as my estrogen as well as my testosterone, to make sure that I can get those places in a really good area for me to be able to go ahead and grow and actually make progress going into this off season, and really just feel good as well. Have higher energy levels, have a higher sex drive, just kind of get that little bit of oomph back when it comes to just feeling good and having those hormones in a better spot. So it will be really interesting to see how I can go ahead and recover those, and then potentially, like I said, looking at later down the road, maybe moving to something such as TRT to go ahead and bring those up and get me to that higher end of that natural limit to see how I feel, because even being at 18.5 nanomoles, I really did not feel all that great, and I definitely still felt like I had low sex drive in the off season. I felt that I was very lethargic all the time, and that's something that I'm still feeling, and obviously that's going to just be exacerbated when it comes to having your testosterone at 2.4 nanomoles. So that is something that I will potentially be looking at in the future, and like I talked about in the last video, that's something that I really want to be open and honest and transparent with you guys about. So if I do decide to go down that route of going enhanced, getting on TRT, then I'm definitely going to be sharing that with you guys and going ahead and taking you through what the process looks like of that. But that is going to wrap up this segment of the video for the blood work, so I will go ahead and catch you guys in the next clip. Alright guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and leave that video there. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it. I would greatly appreciate it. As well, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're new around here so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Other than that, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Here comes the Lord.